two, three. One, two, three. Let's go.
All right, everybody, welcome to another very special edition of AZcrypto. This is AZcrypto and MrFOMO on location. Nothing stops us. We did not have an update from Voyager as of today, but we're going to talk about the VGX token and what you might expect, because a lot of you on Voyager are holding the VGX token. And obviously, the VGX that's being held on Voyager right now cannot be sold, it cannot be bought, but it is available in other places such as Binance, such as FTX, and such as Coinbase. And so if we do see a tweet that things are looking good and maybe we're getting closer to a resolution, you will probably see a run up on VGX. And you'll say, oh, that's great. However, MrFOMO, explain to our viewers why that might not be so great if you're like us and holding VGX on Voyager.
Well, you obviously everything's locked up right now, so you can't touch it. So you wouldn't be able to take your profits and exit, and you probably just ride it up and ride it back down like a horrible roller coaster.
Well, the people that have bought these tokens based on the rumor of good news could easily dump. Celsius,
They definitely will.
The Cell token, when Celsius has been down, has actually been doing really well. Right now, no one's buying. We're at 23 cents, and the market cap is just so tiny. No one expected this, but again, these are uncharted territories because of the situation.
Well,
the market cap's under 70 million, so that's crazy.
A bulk of their customers are locked out right now. So
yeah. And before we move forward, remember, guys, hit that subscribe button. We got a bunch of new subscribers since our last video, so welcome. Thank you guys very much. We're ramming through trying to get to 100. So if you have not done so, please hit that subscribe. Please share. We'd love for you to be our 100th subscriber here. But, let's talk about long term. I mean, there might be, if this gets resolved in the next couple of weeks, VGX might go up and then might go down. But long term, what are some scenarios you see where obviously no one wants a pause in trading and it's very scary? But what are some scenarios where VGX can recover and really show some strength?
Well, obviously, we've talked about what the obvious paths forward are, either acquisition or just figuring it out on their own and moving forward. The best case scenario for VGX to me is for them to figure this out and move forward as Voyager and continue on as the VGX token, because then I think you've actually seen the bottom of this thing. And
that's a great point.
If you can get your hands on some on Coinbase, if you weren't already snapping it up at 25 or 26 cents, wherever it was before they halted everything, then you have an opportunity to jump on something. And so if you believe that they're going to move forward, then this is an incredible opportunity to get in at a basement price. But then the murky water starts to show up when you talk about acquisition. You would hope that if they were acquired by another company, that the VGX token would be part of that acquisition and an important part of that acquisition.
It would be. It would just, we talked about this before, it just depends. So let's use FTX, because that is by far the most likely scenario. What would Sam's plan be? Maybe he has some new ideas. FTX has more liquidity. Maybe they're willing to burn a little bit more. Though the plan was right now to burn 50,000 a month until the new VLP 2.0 came about, and eventually that we're going to burn with VGX during withdrawals. I mean, burning was never going to be a huge part of the price, but maybe under new ownership, that becomes a bigger issue. I know Binance burns a ton, and that's one of the reasons why during one run they were able to go from 50 to over 600. Now their market cap is much higher.
That's the biggest problem is once you start talking about acquisition, you start talking about somebody else coming in and running things. they have different ideas for the token. Like you said, it could be a good thing where they, incorporate burns, or they provide more utility, or it's more like the BNB token where you have to hold it in order to function on some sort of platform.
Well, and that's my idea. I had a really good idea. Here's the thing. The VGX token makes money for Voyager. If they said, hey, we're going to, like our idea with lockups, but unfortunately, the only way now to earn any type of rewards is to at least be at the Maverick stage, which the Maverick stage is 100 VGX, which right now it's not. Come on now. That's nothing. That's 25 cents. You're not buying. I mean, that's, yeah, 25 bucks.
If you're towing some crypto.
But listen, if you have to hold 100 to get the rewards and to get the benefit of now you're incentivizing a lot of people to buy VGX, which help Voyager, and you're incentivizing them to hold on to it. And the more you lock up your VGX, the higher your levels, the more rewards you get. But that can be a moneymaker for them.
Absolutely. And I think so, moving forward, they have to explore those options, whether it's acquisition or whether it's Voyager moving forward as Voyager and continuing on, whether they find a way forward. I think that they need to take a closer look at the VGX token and what kinds of utilities they can add to it.
And people online have been telling me, well, it's crypto for all. People shouldn't be forced to buy the token. No one's forcing anyone to do anything. But if you want to use the benefit of the site, buy the token, help Voyager, and help the investors. That to me, that argument never made any sense to me. Because why should you have to buy 20 VGX to get 12% off? Well, it's helping the companies now in a very difficult time, but it's also helping the investor. The more VGX goes up, it helps the stock. The more VGX goes up, it helps the company. So I really hope that whether it's new ownership or current ownership, that even the new VLP is tweaked, because getting people to buy a lot of VGX will help the recovery.
Yeah. And so that's why I think no matter what happens, I think opening the utility of this token is the best course of action for whoever is managing it. My sincere hope is that whoever, if the path forward is acquisition, that whoever does buy it doesn't just scrap the whole program or say forget about VGX, or have some sort of weird swap where they rename the token but you get less value or something. You never know when other people get involved. And I mean, you really can't tell right now with a team that's currently involved what you're going to get. I mean, that's really why we're doing this show right now, is just to kind of explore all the things that could happen, right? And so,
well, I like your optimism as we hit bottom. At 60
I really do.
market cap.
I mean, when you've taken a bulk of the customers out and you've left the people with literally no utility there holding it. I mean, the people on BNB, Coinbase, anywhere else that have VGX, they have no utility. We're talking about they need to increase the utility, but these people are literally just speculating on a token with no utility to them. And so I think that if I were speculating right now, I'd say this is probably a pretty good spot to say is a bottom for VGX.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going back to 10 cents, the earliest days of Voyager, right? Unless unfortunately they open up and it's clear that things are over. But I've got to believe they're going to have a plan. And we didn't get any communication. I feel strongly there's going to be some type of communication by Friday. I can't imagine going through a whole week, especially when we had those tweets we read yesterday during Sunday. We read them on our Monday program. I can't imagine they're going to be going a whole week without communication. I don't think there's going to be a resolution necessarily.
Yeah, but I think you're going to get a lot more hand-holding tweets. We're here for you. We haven't sold your assets yet.
Well, those are important though. It's important.
I think we're a long way away from resolution. It's
important to keep people's spirits up. You want people to be incentivized, maybe to buy the token of their exchanges or buy the stock. It helps. Any money right now infused into the program helps. That's it. They're trying to balance the balance sheet. We don't know about Alameda and FTX. I'm speculating that FTX is going to be heavily involved, whether they take over or not. If they are putting a ton of money into this, I think there's going to be some type of partnership. And again, I'm not trying to scare people. I actually would like to get Sam involved with Voyager and
Well,
VGX.
I mean, here's the thing: if you infuse that kind of knowledge and that kind of experience and that kind of, I mean, just the the reach of that company, you're going to find that more ideas come pouring in. And
I mean, look, I'll give you an example.
see the
FTX is
utility.
operating in Japan.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean. Is this company will bring in those ideas that we're talking about and bring in that utility for the token.
What if FTX decides to take Voyager global much faster? You know, we were supposed to already be in this summer Europe, and obviously that's not happening. But what if FTX says we're going to keep the name Voyager, but now we're going to have our hands involved? And guess what? Voyager's going to Japan. Voyager, like it was going to go to France.
Well,
France,
I think
Spain.
regardless of whether it's acquisition or it's just Voyager moving forward, they're going to need to expand. They're going to need to move into other areas. They're going to have to open up in Europe. They're going to have to start doing things because they're going to have to draw money in.
That's a great point.
Now it's not just about slow and steady and scaling at a responsible pace. Now the only responsible move is to scale up in order to
secure the platform's health. And right. I think you could, if you could tell, hey, FTX, we're going to do stocks. The stocks are coming. You guys are going to help us expand globally much faster. Then I think VGX, and remember, there were also supposed to be NFTs coming. There were also supposed to be a credit card besides a debit card. If Sam comes in and says, you know, I see a lot of potential here, but I'm going to take my knowledge. We don't know how much they're involved in BlockFi. I don't know if they're going to let BlockFi do the thing or they're taking over. I mean, they're obviously they're buying them. We don't know who's going to be in charge of BlockFi. But if Sam says, I'm going to take your ideas, but I'm going to implement them at a much faster, quicker rate. So guess what? When we're in 2024, the next Bitcoin halving and the next bull run, maybe it starts in 2023, but all this stuff is in place. The problem in the last one was we got to over $7 from VGX, from all the way under $1 based on all speculation. The VLP itself for price was not positive. I mean, you had a couple spikes, right? When the Coinbase listing and in November, right before Thanksgiving, before things went bad, we hit $5. So, you know, you had your moments. They just weren't sustainable because the utility sounded good, but the actual VLP didn't incentivize enough people to hold. And so my point is, you want to make money for the platform, and it's good. It's good for them when people buy VGX. VGX to me should be a requirement to use all the perks of the program.
To me, yeah. If you want to trade crypto, I think that you should. I think like BNB, you should hold a little bit of VGX.
And you know, they're worried about people withdrawing when they come back, mass withdrawal. What if you had to own a certain amount of VGX to do withdrawals? I mean, people wouldn't be thrilled about that. Just saying.
In order to get your money, we need you to put a little bit more money in. I don't know if that's going to work when they open.
Well, my point is what some exchanges have done is they've lowered, like for example, crypto.com is about 3K a day. They've lowered how much. What if you were able to withdraw quicker if you bought and held VGX for a month or two or three, just to give the company some more, because like you said,
we discussed lockups, and I think, why not say, you know, I'm going to lock up my VGX, and then that gets you more functionality, or, you know, there's all kinds of avenues that they should be exploring, especially with this token. It's just available for them to be.
I don't think you've seen the potential of this token. And that's why I think, although this is a nightmare today, if FTX says, we love your ideas, but we're going to take them to the next level and we're going to get involved. Now, what's going to happen is Voyager is going to be sharing a lot of those profits with FTX. But if the company's, hey, if a customer, for me, it's about my safety of my funds and how can I use the platform. If Steve is in a lesser role, so be it. Nothing against him, but the ideas have been good. but we've talked about this. They weren't executed, implemented in a timely fashion in crypto years and years and years. The problem with that is the slow and steady. You don't know what regulation next door is coming. You don't know what regulation is going to look like in 2025. You don't know what regulations look like 2027. You can't take 4 years to get to Europe.
And we've seen in crypto that the first market mover is always the one that's rewarded. I mean, you hear all these
Binance, FTX.
And at the end of the day, there are no ETH killers.
I mean, look at Coinbase today. Look at Coinbase this week. Look at Coinbase this week now wanting to go into Europe. So
yeah, and so they need to get back on board. They need to strike while the iron's hot. And if they're moving forward as Voyager and without the help of any other, infusions of cash or acquisitions, then to me,
well, I don't see that as a viable.
It's time to be the first one to get your footprint in Europe. It's time to be the first one to flex that card, and that
I don't see them as
all after you get this program back on its feet.
But let's be honest, though, there has to be a huge infusion of money to come back as Voyager. So they might be coming back as Voyager, but maybe FTX has power and control. Maybe FTX buys Voyager, but keeps the name Voyager, and they say, "Here's what we're doing. Your money is safe. Here's a plan for the VGX token." I know there's some people that are very loyal to Steve, and he's a great guy. Dom, who's been on the show, has met him. The reality is, under his leadership, it put us in a very bad situation. Nothing against him personally. It just is what it is. He may have been a great leader. At the end of the day, we were sitting at a token that was worth over $7. That's now at 25 cents. And yes, there's a major bear market, but buying a BNB
there
token,
were also some serious mistakes made in there. Offering a company a 600 million no or low collateral loan is a mistake.
There's no way around it. Even the biggest fan is going to admit that's a huge mistake. It's and so now you got to find a way to come back safely, however that looks like. But I think if you want to really bring in new customers, you've got to make it, one, you got to make it feel like their money is secure. But two, you have to show there is a ton of potential. And what better way to do it than to use the VGX token? Really quickly on Bitcoin, we're back over 20,000. There are some TA experts online that feel like July is going to be a good month. And I know you're not in that mindset because of the macro around the world, but we want to remind our viewers it was a very different time. Last July, people were just dumbfounded what happened in May and middle of the bull run. Things just crashed. Last July, towards the middle, things came back. We had a bit of a run all the way back up to 60K BTC. Now, we're not getting 60K or 66K during the bear. But so really with BTC, as I was saying, there's some speculation that prices could go higher in July into August because of the ETH event that's happening. So just something to monitor. We'll monitor it on the show. But remember, we are your place. If there is a major Voyager update, we'll be here to talk about it. For AZcrypto and MrFOMO, that's me saying good night, everybody.
See ya.